everyone, welcome. My name is Catrice Nelson, founder of Healthy Bodies, Healthy Minds Yoga and Catrice Nelson Wellness. We welcome you here today. I'm going to be interviewing Ebony Yahi. I hope that you will enjoy. Namaste and amen. Hi everyone, welcome. You see, we have our shoes off. We're both yogis, so this is a different kind of interview. So welcome. I'm here to introduce Miss Ebony Yahi. She is the founder of Coptic Yogi, an online wellness center where she offers yoga classes and yoga and meditation certification programs. She also has a YouTube channel, Ebony Yahi. Welcome, Ebony.
Thank you so much for
being
having me.
here.
Thank you.
So, you've written a book.
Yes.
Yes, and I see the title of your book, Sharing the Gift of Yoga, with a subtitle From the Eastern World.
Yes.
So I have a question. When you mean the Eastern world, are you talking about India?
Well, that's a good question. I would assume that most people would associate India with yoga. But I am challenging readers to broaden that territory and to include East Africa. And so throughout the book, we are making comparisons between ancient India and ancient East Africa in as far as the Coptic Orthodox Church. And so that's the correlation. That's the comparison that I'm making in this book.
Okay, so why did you write the book? What gave you inspiration?
I really wanted to write something for young girls to read. For people who are searching for a better practice, for people who just want to have a tool that will elevate their practice and help understand the philosophy behind it, and to make that connection with culture and the impact culture has on our thoughts and our beliefs and our practice in general.
Okay, yes. Understood. So you said you make a lot of comparisons between India and Ethiopia. So I can see the connection between yoga and India. Why is it important to know about Ethiopia?
Well, Ethiopia to me is one of the most important nations as far as the history of not just Africa, but really the world. And in studying Ethiopia, I have been able to learn so much more about myself, about my practice, and I'm able to make those connections between, let's say, for example, the Tibetan Buddhist monks and the monks that dwell in the cliffs of the Ethiopian monasteries. And I've been able to glean so much more from the wisdoms of these ancient peoples. And I think that Ethiopia should have a lot more attention brought to it. I think that people need to know more about the country because it has some deep wisdom that I just think hasn't really been explored enough. So I'm hoping that this is just the beginning of that exploration.
And how long have you been studying Ethiopia?
Well, it's so strange because I love anything in East African history from the first millennium back. I've been reading a lot about Egypt, and then recently through Ethiopia, I got married, and my husband is Ethiopian, and it's so strange because I had Coptic yogi before I even met him. But it's like just being able to be a part of that community and just learning as much as I can. I just want to share what I have learned.
Awesome. Amazing.
So, yes.
Okay, so let's, talk about something that a lot of people have on their minds. So I'm a Christian.
Yes.
And I understand that you grew up Baptist.
Yes.
So let's talk about Christianity. So what do you say to Christians who want to practice yoga but are reluctant because of their belief? Is yoga better suited for those who practice Hinduism or Buddhism?
Well, first of all, yoga really shouldn't have any religion attached to it. And that's really the beauty of it. It's that it crosses different boundaries. However, as a Christian, if you feel as if this is compromising my beliefs, I really believe that you should not. However, if this is a practice where you don't feel inhibited, where in fact you feel a deeper connection with God through meditation, through by means of just taking a scripture and breaking it down and meditating on that scripture from the Bible, then I think it's an asset. I think that we as a people are unhealthy. We are dying from a lack of self-care, poor diets. It is a crisis that I think that we're in, and I think that we need to find the most effective ways to keep ourselves alive, to keep ourselves healthy. And yoga promotes those ways, because yoga in itself means that you're yoking the mind, the body, and the soul together. So it's not just about exercising. It is about, what are you putting in your mouth? How are you taking care of your body? So it's my aspiration to invite those who feel safe to do it.
Okay.
And to hopefully practice without the judgment.
Right.
Just to have that freedom to choose.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'd like to just mention, I'm a Christian, and during my yoga training,
Yes.
we were, information about the history of yoga and all of the religions, and I realized that the common thing was love.
Right.
So, as a Christian, when I meditate,
Yes.
I meditate on God.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so, like you said, yoga is good for the body, the mind, and the spirit. And I just feel connected to God because I'm honoring my body through exercise.
Oh, definitely.
My mind through meditation. And I feel like I'm connected to Him, my spirit. So I can understand why some may be a little bit
reluctant,
but to each his own.
That's right.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're here to talk about this, because we don't talk about that very often.
Exactly.
But yoga is not a religion. No. It is a practice.
That's it.
It's a practice.
That's it.
So I notice you include, we're going to go back to the book.
Yes.
Because I can talk all day about it.
Oh, no, you're fine.
So I notice you include activities to go along with each chapter, along with yoga sequences. How can this book be used as a tool to improve a person's practice?
Well, the book is really used as the textbook of a class. So classes are offered through this book, and you're able to get certification. And but even if you're not even taking the class, it really should be something like that you write in, that you work with. It's a working book, a workbook, in the sense that I don't want you to just read it. I want you to do something. I want it to be impactful. I want it to spark some kind of action, so that you're not just letting it, stop at the brain. I want it to go through the whole full body. And so my intention is that it can be something that you can use as a tool to just enhance your practice.
Okay, very good. So it's for those who are just starting out, as well as
so just introducing the concepts, and also for seasoned practitioners, because it's going to talk about, for example, we will do a whole unit on the Bhagavad Gita, which is an ancient Indian text, and just sharing a Christian perspective on that text. And usually you don't do the Bhagavad Gita until you're a little further on in your practice, but there's a lot of gems of wisdom that we try to pull out from that Christian perspective.
So we've talked about Christianity before. So in your book, you talk is based on a Christian perspective?
Yes. Gotcha. And we do a whole unit on the history of Christianity through the African lens. And we talk about
Amazing.
the earliest churches that were constructed. We talk about Lalibela, and we talk about the monasteries and where they came from and all of these different places that you can visit when you go there. And so that's our next goal, is to do some work over there, and just to expose people to the history, and it's a very deep history. The Bible, for example, the oldest Bible on the planet right now is in Ethiopia. So it is just a rich culture and plenty of things to learn.
Awesome and amazing. So why is it, we're talking about Christianity, why is it important to illustrate the African origins of Christianity?
I think that's important because a lot of people have stereotyped Christians as being one race, as being one political affiliation, as being very one dimensional. But I think it's important to see that Christianity is global, it is inclusive. You can't ignore the presence of Ethiopia. You have to acknowledge its past, its history, and give it the respect that it's due. And the church would not have existed without Ethiopia. So to ignore it, you're ignoring a great piece of the history of the church in general. So it has been an honor to study it and to share what I've learned.
Okay. And so in the book, you talk about the connection of Ethiopia, Christianity, and yoga.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
This is so needed. Okay. So I see there's artwork.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the artwork on the cover, and why is it important to use this type of imaging? It feels like there's a tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got 3, and for this it's just 3 women, not to exclude the fellas, but we're talking about how a woman represents birth, rebirth. And so the tree is the tree of life, which is also the tree of yoga with the 8 limbs of yoga. And so I thought it was important to show someone of color in the graphic, so that people of color, which are kind of underrepresented in the yoga community, so that they can feel like, you know what, yoga is for everybody, and why not just try it. Yeah.
And you don't have to be able to bend and
Yes,
touch your toes.
exactly.
Because there's all kinds of yoga. So a lot of people don't know that there's restorative yoga.
Yes.
Where you are
going to be in poses for a longer period of time. The poses are specifically designed for your healing. You spend a little bit more time with breath work. You don't have to have this rigorous movement. You're finding the power of stillness. And it's wonderful. And then you have yin yoga, which is a lot of like the cousin of restorative, where you are still holding the poses, but now for yin you're taking it a little bit further. Maybe you're working on flexibility, maybe you're working on strength building. But it's so many different kinds, with vinyasa flow and power yoga and gentle yoga and chair yoga
and heat.
Yes, hot yoga
Hot
when
yoga.
when you have heated rooms. So it's wonderful to be able to have so many options, and you just have to learn yourself and know what your body needs.
Right.
And to go from there.
And just to note that a lot of people are tired and they want to rest.
Right.
So restorative yoga is done
on
the floor with
it's
props
wonderful.
and pillows and after a long day at work, it is just wonderful.
It is so helpful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about biblical meditation, because yoga, meditation, they're connected. So what's the difference when comparing it to a typical one? like biblical meditation?
So for biblical meditation, we are finding scriptures that is very sensory driven. So you want to find a scripture that talks about how somebody feels, the touch, the smell, anything that involves your senses. And then you basically just go there. And you have a narrated meditation where somebody is reading um, a particular well, I have it written out in the book where you just follow the narration and then you follow up with the scripture so that they can say, oh, that's what you meant. But you can take a trip basically to anywhere in the Bible, whether it's having the person, as you narrate, to meditate on walking through two walls of water and feeling the mist from the water as you walk through, and looking down and seeing that the ground is dry, completely dry, because God is making a way for you, and you feel all of the movement through that miracle, and you place them there in it. So biblical meditation simply involves taking the imagery and the sensory of the Bible and creating it as a meditation. And it is very effective. I love it. I try to do it as much as possible. And we've done it at my church. So it's great for retreats or stuff like that.
Okay. I have a question, because a lot of people who are new to meditation think that you have to sit and be quiet, and we're busy people, and some of us feel like we can't sit that long. So for somebody who's new to meditation, or someone who has never had a meditation practice, what would you say the first place for them to begin?
I would say to be as comfortable as you can. You don't need a long time. Yesterday, I was at the Boys and Girls Club. I do yoga with the kids there, and we literally meditated for 2 minutes, because that's all I can get them to stay still for. But 2 minutes, and it was afterwards. I asked them, "How do you feel from 0 to 12?" or 0 to 10 before and afterwards. And afterwards, they were like 7 when they were 5 before, or 8, because it makes a difference. Even 2 minutes of closing your eyes. I would strongly suggest getting meditation music that sets the atmosphere, going into your breath work, taking that 2 minutes out. It changes your mood. It changes everything. And it worked.
And you can get meditation music anywhere. You have an
Alexa,
Google, YouTube. And so how did it work? For the children, what did you say? It was 2 minutes. So was it guided?
It was guided, and I just did one of my typical, I love this one, where you're meditating being in the palms of somebody's hands, and the hands are the size of a building, and they roll into the palms, and it's soft there. So, it's been a great experience being able to work with all different kinds of ages and everything, but just keeping it really simple. And they just laid there in the palms of these hands. And then later on, we were able to talk about, well, what does that mean? That means that somebody loves you. No matter how lonely you might get or overwhelmed, there's somebody that wants to hold you in their hands and make sure you're safe and loved and provided for. So that was the idea with that.
So were the eyes were closed?
Their eyes were closed.
Okay. Sounds like God's love.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to tell them without telling them. That's right. I told them it's all state. Okay.
Okay. Oh, this is wonderful. So, okay, I really enjoyed your chapter. We're going to just switch it up a little bit, entitled Ayurveda, especially the food charts.
Yes.
So now we're getting into healthy eating. We're talking about body. What was your favorite recipe or health and beauty tip?
Okay, I would have to say I love Ethiopian food. Probably my favorite and the most the most beneficial for your health would be lentils. And there's a chapter that the Ayurveda chapter you're talking about where they list not just lentils but other vegetarian meals. There's a lot of fasting in the Orthodox Church, so uh, this is what everyone eats, vegetarian food during, like, say, for example, Lent. So they you will find in all of the restaurants stuff like gomen. Gomen is basically our collard greens and spinach and stuff like that. There, it's the African version of that, and there's so much that you can pick from the menu. And one of the things I ask for people to do is to go to an Ethiopian restaurant. Even if it's like your first time, just have that experience of eating very healthy, very cultural food. And I also have in the book some beauty secrets, like, for example, doing a honey mask and putting that on your face. There's tons of beauty secrets that I'm trying to find and uncover, dig up. Ethiopian women are probably the most beautiful women in the world. And they have wonderful practices that I share in the book that I found to be very beneficial.
Okay, so tell me more about this honey mask. So can we go to any store? Do we have to go to a health food store to get the honey? Or
I would go any one. There are more expensive ones that you can use, but I got just as much out of the less expensive honey as I did the more expensive. And just get that layer of honey on, and you wash it off, and your skin feels so much better afterwards.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, have you tried that?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
You've tried it. Okay, awesome. So how is that related to Ayurveda?
So Ayurveda, meaning the science of life, the study of life, in a sense. You are using the principles of basically Mother Nature, and everything we need, Mother Nature has given us. And so finding those principles of like whether your food tastes bitter or salty or sweet or tangy, and understanding that even the taste of your foods will balance your diet if you pay attention to it. And the other thing about the book is that we have assessments, and part of the Ayurveda assessment is finding out what dosha you are. So if you're a Pitta or Kapha or whatever, there's only 3, Vata, but you take the test, it tells you, and then you are guided according to your dosha on your Ayurvedic journey, what foods are good for you, what foods to avoid, what time you should sleep, how much, what you should be drinking. I mean, it gets so detailed.
And what is the history of that?
I think it went along with as yoga developed in philosophy, so was Ayurveda. A lot of this is oral that that we wrote down later, so it's so hard to date it. But Ayurveda is, I think that they're cousins, Ayurveda and yoga. They're related, but still different.
Okay, amazing. All right, so, oh my goodness. Sad we're coming to. So if we want to purchase this book, how would we go about doing it? And let me just say this would be great for a class or like a book club.
Yes, it would be wonderful. I have some standards of learnings in the book. So if you do teach high school, you will find some things in there that you can relate to the curriculum. You can buy this on my website, copticyogi.com. So COPTICYOGI.com, or on Amazon. So it's basically anywhere you find books. And Friesen Press is the name of the publishing company.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, this was amazing.
Thank you
and
so
awesome,
much.
Especially talking about Christianity with yoga, because that's a topic that some people don't want to talk about.
I know.
And we've talked a lot about that today. So I encourage you to find out more about Ebony Yahi. Remember, she has a YouTube channel with a few. Tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel.
We're starting it. We're creating content now. There are going to be videos with basically different body parts in mind. So if you want yoga for hips, yoga for shoulders, yoga for knees, it's there. There's one on breath and meditation. So we're going to continue to keep putting more stuff on there. Would love for you to check it out. Ebony Yahi.
Okay, Ebony Yahi.
Yahi.
So thank you for joining
Thank
us
you
today.
so much
it was
for
a
having
pleasure.
me.
It feels freeing to be able to interview with no shoes. You should try it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a great day.
All right. Hi, I'm Ebony Yahi, and I'm the author of Sharing the Gift of Yoga. This is a book that I feel like I was born to write. I really hope that those who read it will be blessed by it, that it will enhance your yoga practice, that it will answer questions that maybe keep you from practicing yoga. I pray that it will be a blessing to you as it has been a blessing to me to write. Namaste and happy reading.